going on, YouTube? Culturedog Sam Hatch back with another Laserdisc collection update. And thanks for everybody for bearing with me during the past month or two. I had a busy July with wedding planning, and I was just off the grid this past weekend for birthday celebrations for myself. And August and July have been a little bit crazy, but I've been trying to at least drop a few videos a week if I can, just to keep things going and keep you guys following the channel. And thanks again for all the great feedback. I love talking to everybody in the comment sections and in the messages. And shout outs to everybody on the Laserdisc Forever page on Facebook. If you're a fan of Laserdisc, definitely check that out and sign up and tell them Culture Dog sent you. And shout outs to Christian and Hannah Horror, who just recently celebrated having 800 subs with a cool Q&A video. I recommend checking that out if you're a fan of the horror end of the spectrum and collecting horror laserdiscs and memorabilia, etc. A great channel. And also shout outs to my boys Mike and Justin from Maison Otaku, a great channel all about anime and all the intricacies of anime fandom and just being a crazy otaku. And they're totally insanely knowledgeable, and they happen to like the same kind of anime films that I like. So I'm a little biased, but great show and great channel. You should check it out if you are into that sort of stuff. But anyways, let's get into what I've been picking up lately on Laserdisc. I've been trying to behave. I ordered a bunch of stuff from Kevin Kobos and Good Squid, as you might have sseen some of my 007 unboxing. So I'm not going to go into the James Bond disc, since you've probably already seen them on the channel already. I'll do maybe a little bit later like a comprehensive 007 Laserdisc collection video when I collected all of the NTSC James Bond Laserdisc, so that may be a little while in the making. But so I'll stick with stuff that I picked up recently on Craigslist and either online or through lots or whatever. One I totally forgot to mention in my last update video I had picked up from Ryan out Oregon way on the Laserdisc Forever website, but the DTS pressing of Dragonheart, which gave me the gumption to go ahead and bring the regular pressing into work for the work Laserdisc collection. And we actually watched that during lunch not too long ago. And nice having the DTS copy. One of these days I'll pick up the Signature Collection box set as well and add that to the pile. Hit the flea markets, and those are hit or miss. I've been finding a little bit more Laserdisc lately, and I've been trying to force myself to behave. But occasionally something will come through and I'll just grab it. These were $1 and we're still in the original shrink wrap. However, in this case, the disc itself was cracked. But it was Victory at Sea, Volumes 1 through 3, a kind of very propaganda-based television documentary from the 50s, which I've never seen, and I was going to start checking it out, but my disc is cracked, so that's the end of that. But I did grab this disc, which is not cracked and is in great shape. It was, again, still in the shrink wrap and looks fantastic. It's High Society with Bing Crosby and Grace Kelly and Frank Sinatra doing a musical rendition of the story from the Philadelphia Story. So I just happened to watch the Philadelphia Story. I got that in a lot recently, so it'll be cool to watch this rendition. And a very nice MGM disc, and looking forward to checking that out. And I did pick up a Craigslist lot. I wasn't quite sure if I was going to pull the trigger on it. It was somebody in my hometown, which is pretty cool. It's pretty rare that I find Laserdisc in my hometown. They've literally been sitting like 5 minutes up the road from me, and never knew. And apparently a lot of people were asking about the lot, but nobody would ever show to check them out. So I figured, I'll go take a peek. And I wasn't sure. There was some titles that were still in the shrink, but then there were some that obviously had been to the basement, so they had a bit of the kind of basement smell to them, which takes a little bit to get out. And there's a lot of interesting ways you can go about doing that, but it's work and not usually that much into it. And of course, if there's something that's covered in mold or whatever, you don't even want to bother with it. Just throw it out, unfortunately. But yeah, these were like in differing shape depending on the titles, but a lot were in the shrinks, and I don't know, it was pretty tempting for the most part, and there was a lot of titles I didn't have. Normally when I go, I see a lot of the same stuff I had, which is funny because the listing of what the guy had was like Blade Runner, Godfather, this, and I'm like, okay, it's going to be just nothing but commons. So I thought if they're commons and they have like a mildewy smell to them or something, there's no way I'm getting involved in that. When I got there, though, I was faced with something entirely altogether not different and not what I was expecting at all. And then come to find out there was a lot that I didn't have, and there weren't that many commons after all. There was a few in the end, we'll see. But I started seeing Obi strips, and that's when I was like, okay, this is a little bit more interesting than my average, kind of Craigslist hunting scenario. And the seller mentioned something. Oh, there's a bunch of rock discs in here and stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, again, that's probably going to be, some stuff that I'm not interested in, or just some kind of middle of the road rock stuff, or a Bruce Springsteen disc or something that I'm not really that excited about. So I was like, all right, I'll check it out. Mostly because he had Swingers on the list, and I wanted Swingers and the Goldfinger THX version. And like I said, I've been collecting James Bond discs lately, so I'm like, all right, I'll go and I'll at least check that out. But then I started seeing the Obi strips and said, all right, there might be some cool stuff in here. And there was. Huge Joe Satriani fan. I spent countless years sitting there with the Cherry Hill tablature books trying to learn tunes from Flying in a Blue Dream and Surfing with the Alien. So this was very cool to get the Satch tapes. And it's a lot of great video material and like kind of behind the scenes stuff and interviews. Of course, Steve Vai has some talking head moments in there, and Satriani himself. But yeah, it's stuff covering the period up until The Extremist. So really, really good era, and super excited to have that. The disc I'm probably the most excited about getting in here. Now I'm seeing copies of it for sale all the time, but I haven't really run across it up until now, except on eBay or whatever. But it's Pink Floyd, Delicate Sound of Thunder from the Momentary Lapse of Reason tour. And this was recorded in New York. The Japanese pressing this is, there is an Obi strip, which I have separately. I can't remember where I put that, but it kind of doesn't work well with the artwork. I just love having this artwork like this. And the only problem is the American disc has one more track. This does not have money on it. But the jacket art is 30 times cooler than the American disc, which has like the music disc all emblazoned all cheesily on the bottom and all that stuff. I'll probably still get it at some point anyways, but this is a really nice pressing. And a pretty decently long film. It's about 90 minutes. Wayne Isham did it. His directing can be a little bit hit or miss. It's not quite as frantic as the stuff he did for Metallica. But yeah, I really dig it. And I love the fact that just about everything from Momentary Lapse of Reason is included in here. Yes, I know a lot of people, friends of mine, that were very, very upset about the direction of Pink Floyd when it was carrying on without Roger Waters, and they would call it Pink Fraud. But I've said it before, and I'll say it again, I'm way more of a David Gilmour guy than I am a Roger Waters guy, and Momentary Lapse of Reason totally owns Pink Floyd's The Wall. So, yes, heap the hatred upon me, but no, heap it on, keep going on. The Wall is just, it's just a little bit, it's got some great songs on there, but it's just a little bit too much of a Roger Waters disappearing up his own bumhole kind of release. Maybe not as much as the final cut, but the things I love about Pink Floyd is generally the David Gilmour aspects of Pink Floyd, so this was something I was definitely looking forward to getting for a long time, and totally made my night. I immediately watched that the night I got the lot, and was completely psyched. Alright, this, I like some of their songs, but I'm not really a killer super fan. But Motley Crue, Decade of Decadence, 81 to 91. I'll probably end up taking it for a spin, but I'll most likely end up selling it. It's interesting. It's in like an LP jacket, that kind of thin cardboard. Elektra put it out. But yeah, I had to really look for the Digital Sound and Laserdisc logos there, because, I mean, when you pick this up, it really feels like an LP from the late 80s, early 90s. This one, unfortunately, the jacket got killed, but I held on to it anyways. It is Japanese band that you may have heard with the tune Crazy Night in, if you ever watched the Headbangers Ball era on MTV, but it's a Video Loudness from the band Loudness, so I'm just holding on to it anyways. I got the Obi strip still, but it's too bad the jacket got wrecked, but it's a cool band, so I figured I'm going to keep that. I also got a short kind of clip release from Loudness called Black Widow Once and For All. And again, this was all in the original packaging. So everything's in great shape. And all the inserts and everything are still here with all this Japanese material. So very cool. Also got another Loudness release. Welcome to the Slaughterhouse. More great stuff. There's, I think, at least 6 or 7 Loudness Laserdiscs. So now I've got 3 of them, which is pretty cool. This one, I can't remember if I have the Obi or not, but Ultimate Ozzy from Ozzy Osbourne. There's a domestic US version of this as well. Again, not an Ozzy super fan. I'm definitely more of a Black Sabbath fan than Ozzy's solo work, but he's got some killer tunes, so I'll end up watching it and checking it out. This is a band I've never actually heard until now, another Japanese band, but I've heard them compared to Loudness a lot, and I love the cover art here. It's pretty twisted. It looks like something out of a Brett Leonard movie or something. But Sly, Live Dreams of Dust. Apparently it's a live kind of companion piece to the album of the same name. So looking forward to checking that out, actually. So that's on the list. Another kind of classic 90s release with a Laserdisc companion piece. I think about 7 videos on here. But Extreme Photo Graffiti. And still in all its original wrap and everything like that when I picked it up. So very cool. It's funny, these guys I never was into back in the day, but now I'm running into more and more people that appreciate them, and I'm kind of thinking maybe I should give them another shot and check it out. But I was kind of tormented by some of their songs that were played and overplayed back in the day, and they were a little bit more on the hair metal side. But Warrant, Dirty Rotten, Filthy Stinkin' Rich live. So quite a few tracks on there. It's about 51 minutes. Cool stuff. And this one unfortunately didn't have the jacket at all. I wish I had gotten it, but it's Rock and Roll Meltdown, the video collection. There's a lot of really cool hard rock and metal video collection releases from Japan, and they're insanely expensive to pick up. So I wish I had gotten the jacket, but the disc is still fine, so I'm going to hold on to that. Another kind of classic with 10 or 11 tracks here from Wembley Arena. Lita Ford Live. So interesting how it's got that weird kind of orangey yellow surround area. There's a domestic US version as well. I think that just has the inset kind of artwork there. But that was pretty cool to pick up. This is another one of those bands that kind of got lumped in with the hair metal scene, but had a little bit more chops going on, and probably were underrated because of their appearance by the metalheads like myself. But oh yeah, it's a Punch Out. But oh yeah, the music disc, as I mentioned before, Britney Fox, Year of the Fox. I gotta check this out. I've got a friend who's really into these guys, and so now I'm gonna rethink my original, hair metal cutoff situation that I had pretty much of anybody had poofy hair. I didn't give him the time of day. This is definitely not hair metal, but he does have some wild hair. My mom was actually a huge fan of this guy. Harry Chapin, the Book of Chapin from Rhino, actually put this out. And it's from Soundstage from PBS. And I actually bought a copy of this from my mom back in the day. So now I've got one for my own. She used to go see him every time he came through, and it was, on a friendly basis with him, and even got a program guide signed for me when I was like 3 years old or something like that. So it's pretty cool. This is one of those bands with poofy hair that I did like, mainly because there was a guy called George Lynch who completely wrecked the guitar. I mean, he just shredded. And this is a pretty cool release. I actually have this on DVD as well. Dokken Unchain the Night. Yeah, it's hella pink, but there's some good stuff on here, and some cool, actually funny interview segments as well with the band, but pretty cool stuff. It's also interesting, it's one of those discs that's it's one-sided, so the unused side is white instead of just a regular Laserdisc look, but the label, for some reason, on the other side, something must have happened, because I actually got 2 copies of this sucker in this lot. I'm not sure why, but the label on both of them slid off, so I got to figure out what to do, because I don't really want to put it in my player without a label, so I got to check that out. And but yeah, I mean, it looks like it's in good shape other than that. It's funny, I started seeing this in people's collections recently too, but ZZ Top Greatest Hits, about 12 tracks on there, pretty cool stuff. And if you've ever watched MTV back in the day, I'm sure you've seen the bulk of those. This one, sadly, did not have a disc inside it, but Bon Jovi Breakout. I figure my wife's a Bon Jovi fan, so maybe I'll frame it or something like that. This is one of the discs I was really excited to watch, but unfortunately it is a PDO UK release, so that means it's possibly rotted. And the other reason is it's a PAL release. It's from Germany. Tears for Fears, Scenes from the Big Chair. I was like, yes, gotta check this out. But then I saw PAL, and I was like, ah, I can't watch that now. It is notable for, it's a CD video release, and a lot of those done by PDO UK were gold. So one of the rare kind of gold releases. Not that rare over in Europe, but a little rare here in the States to see those things. So I wish I could check that out. Unfortunately, it is not in the American NTSC video system. This is cool. The disc jacket is beat to hell. It's a punch out and a cut out, but so cool. It's an Image Entertainment release from Enigma Records. Enigma Records is long gone now, but they put out a lot of cool stuff and teamed up in particular with Metal Blade Records. And this is a very cool Metal Blade kind of home video called Video Meltdown. And there's some great stuff on here. Fates Warning, who I love because they're a Connecticut band, and I've even played shows with members from Fates Warning, especially the early incarnations. But Lizzie Borden on here, DRI, Candlemass, Armored Saint, Anvil, Trouble, Mazzy, and Bitch. So, super cool. I was way excited though. I watched that the first night. I picked up the lot too. And this is another one of those releases that are really hard to find and end up going for a ton of money. The jacket's a little bit beat up. It's funny, most of the other titles I got are in pristine condition, but this one's got a lot of kind of flaking around the edging and stuff. But and apparently it was a sample copy, so maybe it was given out for review purposes or something like that. But Breakin' Metal Live Volume 2. I'd love to get Volume 1, but I don't know if I'm going to find that for anything reasonably priced. But the cool thing about this is it's got 4 tracks from Venom on it. Some tracks from Lee Aaron and Rock Goddess and Uriah Heep, but also Warlock, Doro Pesch's band. And that's pretty cool. So I'm super excited to pick that up. So yeah, that was about it for the Japanese Laserdisc. I did get a couple of 8-inch discs. Unfortunately, the jackets got wrecked for some of these, so I'm not sure if the discs are even in good shape, but Pat Benatar's hit videos I got. Another one with a white side and a silver side for Kajagoogoo. And this one's still in good shape, though. Rat, the video. About 6 or so chapters on that sucker. So yeah, those were there, and I figured I'll pick those up. Also tripped across a couple sealed Robotech releases, which is pretty cool. A Robotech Masters release, Volume 3. Robotech Masters Volume 5. These are the family home entertainment versions that came out that were supposedly uncut full-length episodes. Man, I got so burned when the tapes first came out, and I bought them all, and they were just totally trimmed. Drove me crazy. I also got an unsealed copy of Volume 1 of the Macross Saga, which is a really cool cover art there. I love that stuff. So cool to have that, even though I've got them on DVD and everything like that. Also picked up a bunch of films. I'd mentioned before some of the titles that were listed on the email I had gotten, and this, I haven't seen in the ages. Larry Clark's Kids, pretty intense and not exactly super uplifting, but it does have Casper the Dopest Ghost, so that's cool. This is not widescreen or anything like that. It is a early 90s pressing of the classic Steve Martin film, The Jerk, and picked it up anyways just because it's in awesome condition, and it's one of my favorites. This was one of the titles that was listed when I got the email from the seller, and this is the 1990 version. Not really widescreen, but then again, it should just be like an open matte transfer as far as I know, of The Godfather Part 2. A horribly washed out and boring looking cover art. I love that kind of, it's not really black, it's just kind of gray-brown, and really ugly looking. But again, I own many Godfather box sets, so I don't really need that. I'll probably be finding a home elsewhere for that at some point. Also got No Way Out, cool Roger Donaldson flick with Kevin Costner and Gene Hackman. Good stuff there. And this I own multiple copies of. I got one, I gave it away, I got another one, and now I've got a third copy. Though this one is in way nicer condition, so I'm going to hold on to it. The director's cut version of Blade Runner. One of the first Laserdiscs I got when I first got into the format. Then this was sealed, so it does have some unfortunate stress cracks and creases because probably of the tightness of the shrink wrap. But Jane Campion's the piano. You get to see Harvey Keitel naked if that's something you're really down for. So it was cool getting that. This, again, not widescreen or anything like that, and it's an older release, but I do believe it has at least digital sound, hopefully. But The Breakfast Club, great condition of the jacket. So actually, maybe it is only CX encoded analog. I'll have to take that for a spin. This is an older, 1985, 86 package and design copy of Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Not really a fan of the design work. It's pretty much the same thing Warner Brothers did for their clamshell VHS releases, just carried over to Laserdisc, so it doesn't make the Laserdisc feel special. It makes it feel like VHS Plus, pan and scan, and all these like horrible little sticker kind of looking things. It says adult action and all that stuff. So there's a much nicer copy that came out later that has the artwork spread across the entire front of the jacket. It's also very like kind of bland and washed out looking. That said, it's a Mad Max movie and it's on Laserdisc, so that's pretty cool. Though I might find a home for it elsewhere. This I don't need because I've got multiple copies of it elsewhere, but can't say no to a fistful of dollars on Laserdisc. Love the cover art. Worst case scenario, I can frame it. But yeah, I'm going to end up watching that because I love that flick and it's cool having it on laser. This, I don't believe is widescreen or anything, but it is in 1995 pressing with digital audio, and it got reissued. Pump Up the Volume. I was just seeing a piece on this, and my dad must have linked to it. I don't know if it was Salon or something like that, talking about the legacy of this film, and it's been quite some time since I've seen it, so looking forward to checking that out again. This, I mentioned before, was one of the titles that was brought up in the discussions about the lot, and I wanted to get it. The THX version of Goldfinger. Nice glossy finish to the jacket. And another John Hughes flick, one that my wife is a huge fan of, so very excited to get it. And it's a cool Pioneer special edition, or a Pioneer, not special edition, but just a remastered widescreen edition of Pretty in Pink. And looks pretty good. Jacket's in nice shape. This, again, was one of the things that got me intrigued to pick up the set, because I didn't have this yet, and it's a film I've been wanting to watch again since originally renting it in the late 90s. But Swingers. Cool flick. This is not widescreen, but still in decent enough shape. I'll hold on to it for now, but Peter Weir's classic flick, Dead Poet Society, with Robin Williams, and I used to own the 80s pan and scan version of this, which was a crime. I think it was analog audio only. And then I just kind of skipped over the later Laserdisc reissues and went straight to DVD. And I'd love to still get the Signature Collection version of it because it got some great extras on it. But this is a very nice letterboxed edition of John Carpenter's The Thing. Classic flick. Love having a copy of that. And likewise, John Carpenter's Halloween. I was super excited to get the CAV Criterion Laserdisc copy of that within the past year, and it's still pretty sad because it knew there was a CLV counterpart out there, which I picked up, the CLV single disc version Criterion release of Halloween. So some very cool releases, and not what I was really expecting for a local lot, and it was impressive that all these interesting Japanese heavy metal and hard rock Laserdiscs were just sitting down the street for me this whole time. So thanks again for hanging out with me. I got a lot of cool, interesting videos on the horizon. I've been kind of slacking on putting a few older videos out to pasture. They've been sitting around in my editing bay for a while, so I got to get those going. And I've always got a list of upcoming titles that I want to get at, and spotlight videos, and etc. And still, there's my DVD and Blu-ray collection, which I still haven't tackled yet. So thanks again for tuning in and checking out this this collection update video, and we'll be back with some more stuff shortly. Cheers!